authors take on a sadistic games master. Will they survive? Let's clap our hands and believe in magic. Authors and dragons! Authors and dragons!
Good evening, friends. I'm John Hartness, and I'll be playing the role of Fandingo the Fantastical, Loot Hero. In real life, I am the author of a whole bunch of stuff, including the most recent Shingles release, Zombies Ate My Homework, available now in print and ebook. Please go buy that shit, because Daddy needs new gout medicine.
Hi, I'm Joseph Brassi. I play the role of Bjorg Bjornsson, enthusiastic and violent barbarian. In my non-barbarian times, I am the author of several novels, including Skyfarer and the newly released Dragon Road, out now. Go buy that shit. And tonight, my presence is brought to you by sweet, sweet, cold, nutty brown.
Hi, my name is Rick Gualtieri, and I play Silas Kane, currently freelance paladin. In real life, I write several books and series, including The Tome of Bill. Latest release is Devil Hunters, the long awaited sequel to Bigfoot Hunters. So, go check that out. It's been well worth the wait, although I probably should have written a lot sooner.
Hello, friends. My name is Robert Bevan. I play the role of Klaus Richter, notorious rogue. In real life, I write the Caverns and Creatures series of comedy, fantasy novels, and short stories, starting with the first book, Critical Failures, and most recently, the short story, Pain in the Aasimar. I also write so far, one of the Shingles stories. Also, the Klaus Encounters, The Legend of Klaus Richter, and Space Puppies, which are both recently available in paperback.
Hi there, my name's Steve Wetherall, and I play Brandon Fymester, the currently very trampled but still very attractive monk. In real life, I write the comedy fantasy series Doomsayer Journeys, recently re-released by Falstaff Books. So if you're looking for a great time to pick up the Doomsayer Journeys, that time is now.
Hi, I am Drew Hayes, recently voted too drunk for this bus by my fellow passengers. In real life, I'm the author of books such as Superpowers, NPCs, Fred the Vampire Accountant, and the recently released secondhand Curses on Audible, as well as Superpowers Year 4, the conclusion to the Superpowers series, which you can pick up on Audible July 3rd. When last we left our adventuring party, they had been smote. Smote feels almost right. Not quite there. By a herd of elk. Well, not the whole herd. They really only got a small bit of it. Except for you, Bjorg. You ate a shellfish as soon as you arrived, and you have basically been violently barfing and shitting as much as you can, everything you have, for the past few minutes. But you're out. You've run out of stuff to shit and puke, so you're basically fine now.
My companions, my colon is the cleanest.
You can wander up into the forest to find your friends, having just concluded a fight without you. Boy, I wonder how happy they'll be to see you.
Bjorg will tromp his way up into the woods. My friends, I have returned with a clean colon.
Oh, that's great. Brandon's colon's pretty clean, too, because an elk just ran straight through it.
What?
Brandon would suggest that everybody stops talking about colons, but he can't. He's unconscious.
Hold on. I guess I'll go and lay hands on the imperfect.
Whoa. I prefer the term mostly perfect.
Well, that's nice, but since you're unconscious, I don't really care what your opinion is.
To be fair, you wouldn't give a shit what his opinion is if he was conscious either.
That is quite true.
This is Silas Kane for consent.
I will lay hands on him and give him 15 points back.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That's very good.
What happened?
There were elk. Brandon punched one.
I defeated the elk.
Oh, you're awake now. Excellent.
We killed elk. Brandon took a nap.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
That's
For the
not
elk.
true. I defeated the elk, mostly.
I'm afraid I must tell you that don't eat the shellfish.
Have we tried burning and snorting the elk?
I burned one of them while it was still alive.
That's new.
No, you have not constructed an elk pyre as of yet, so far as I know.
All right, guys.
Is there elk meat?
Oh, there's a
Well,
lot
how
of
many-
elk meat. Yeah,
How-
elk meat is not going to be in short supply.
I was thinking about this. Did anybody's transition to 5e give them the ability to butcher animals in a non-horrific sort of way, in a more practical way?
I intend to find out.
I will.
I'm going to try and cook some elk.
Wait, you cut it, I'll cook it.
Well, here's the good news. Butchering elk is going to fall under, I'm going to call that survival, although if you'd like to roll a nature check first, actually I'll just let either one. You can do it with nature or survival. You can either have experience doing it or know the process.
Well, Bjorg's gonna roll survival.
I have some experience from wolves.
It's a shame that I can't roll athletics. Okay, Bjorg is going to. Bjorg rolled a 9 to butcher the elk.
Just for fun, give me an athletics.
All right. I'm waiting for this. And Bjorg rolled a 11 athletics check to butcher the elk.
Okay, now, here's the
Doing
fun
it.
one. Roll me an
Mandingo.
intelligence check.
Intelligence check. All right. This is going to be fantastic because I no longer have a negative modifier. All right. Intelligence. So there's okay. All right. Bjorg rolls a 17 intelligence.
Ah, well, that's a bummer. Okay, you realize that there were two ideas you had. One of them basically rooted in rudimentary butchering. The other one was to pick the deer up and rip it in half. And unfortunately, your 17 intelligence means you realize that the ripping in half one is probably the worst way.
Yeah,
So-
but like he could do it anyway.
Oh, you can. You absolutely can.
Fendingo rolls a natural 20 on survival.
Fendingo,
So-
you've eaten so many deer and elk that you're like, oh yeah, that's that dish, that's that dish.
So while Bjorg's ripping one of them in half, Fendingo's carving the other ones into motherfucking capons. I'm making capons out of deer.
I'm gonna say Fandango has already made a tartare for you guys to snack on while he's working on actual cooking.
Silas rolls
Brandon-
a 12 and goes and helps Bjorg and starts asking him questions about who he worships.
Are you guys just pulling the legs off this elk? 'Cause that's what I'm picturing.
It's a drumstick.
Make a wish.
I mean, that's not gonna be an easy feat given how giant these things are.
What do you need me to roll?
Strength.
Yeah. I could be good, but I'd rather be stupid.
The barbarian's motto.
Serious is for my other games. All right. Hold on. Bjorg rolled a 18 strength check.
Everyone give me perceptions.
Silas doesn't notice shit with a 2.
Oh, that's gonna be bad for you.
Fendingo doesn't notice anything with a 6.
Klaus rolls a 13.
Okay.
Brandon Firemaster rolls a 17.
Show off.
Very perceptive for a guy who's just been twatted by a giant elk.
So that works out pretty well, actually.
All
Silas, you don't notice anything. We'll deal with that in a moment. Fendingo, you are really, like, into your butchering. You natural 20. Like, you're in the fucking zone. You're cursorily aware of this, but it doesn't immediately impact you, so you're like, fuck it. Klaus and Brandon, you are both going to see this happen.
God.
And Brandon, remind me, you're going to see one other thing, but we'll deal with that afterward. As These things are beaten up and injured. They have cuts and stuff, so with an 18 strength check, he just gets one that was already a little bit chopped, and he tears the leg clean off, resulting in a spray of blood that shoots out and hits Silas.
Invigorating!
Thank you, person. Well, we'll get back to thank you.
Bjorg?
Yes?
Thank you, Bjorg, I believe is the word you're looking for,
Oh,
Silas.
yes. Yes, you should thank me. This blood is valuable.
Speaking of...
Since Silas has thanked him for spraying blood on him, Bjorg is going to shake the leg at him a few times, because clearly he wants more.
He genuinely might, honestly. At this point, he's
Makes
so
sense.
far in the rabbit hole, I can't even tell.
I can't remember if Joseph was around for the last time where we're all desperately trying to fill the void in Silas's faith. But I think this is the first time that Silas has thanked a deity and actually received something for it, even if it is just a giant deer leg shaking blood at him.
I was not here last time, so...
Bjorg,
I have been baptized by Bjorg.
Okay, well, Brandon just doesn't say anything to Bjorg and just watches.
Klaus, what about you?
Yeah. Does this mean I'm just God now?
Now, which one had to do with the experience and which one was about knowledge?
Oh,
I guess
it's just-
the knowledge nature was knowledge.
It's just two roads to the same...
Right,
definition.
but all right. So I guess the survival is just experience with. I'm a point lower in survival, but I'm going to count on my experience with wolves to get me through.
All right, you're rolling
So
survival.
I'm doing. Here we go. Klaus rolls a 14.
Oh, that's respectable. You have a slightly better than rudimentary idea of how to butcher an elk, especially if you look and watch Fandango for a few seconds. He fills in the gaps. So yeah, you have basic elk butchering capabilities.
Not really the tools, but I guess I got a dagger.
You got a dagger.
Yeah.
You're not trying to run a butcher shop and put this on display.
Speak for yourself.
I might want to make something out of the leg skin, though.
There you go. Brandon, before we forget, you were the only one to clear a 15 perception check. So you can notice that there are two odd shapes hidden within the roots of these giant trees.
Oh, did I notice something useful?
Well,
Wow.
I guess we'll see.
You guys are all doing a bang-up job tearing that deer into pieces. I'm going to go investigate the roots of this tree.
All
Go
right,
stare at the tree.
I'm about to start cooking, so
Yeah. I've got to inform the guys where I'm going in case I'm eaten by a giant animal of some kind. But I'm going to head towards the interesting shape within the tree roots.
Which one? Are you going to go to the northeast or the northwest?
Northeast.
All right, move your character. And that was northwest.
Oh, yeah.
The wrong direction.
It's very late where I am, all right?
Exact opposite.
All right. So, you find kind of with the roots have woven around this, but it's an old statue. It's holding out its hand, and in the hand is just sort of what looks like a stone heart. And there is an inscription kind of on the base of it, and it says shelter.
I don't think I'm going to be stung to death by a sudden wave of shelters. But at the same time, I have become slightly wary of strange, out of place, I guess, artifacts.
You're reading it wrong. You're about to be eaten by dozens and dozens of shelties.
Someone's dropping a house on your head, dude.
Giant mimic.
I'm going to go
Red
back.
Shoes.
I'm going to go back, and I'm going to get the attention of my currently butchering colleagues. Can I stand atop one of the felled deer that they're currently not ripping into, so I get their attention better?
Sure, roll me an acrobatics.
I can do that.
Leaping up on top of and balancing on this giant carcass is going to take a little effort.
Holy shit,
my
natural one.
So, Brandon Thighmaster leaps atop one of these elk effortlessly, but remember, these things are enormous, and he ends up stepping right onto a slash mark that one of you made with your slicing weapons. And so you see him leap up, take 2 steps, and vanish as he falls into the corpse.
Bjorn will look at what he just saw and go, Brandon, that is not how you butcher an elk.
Brandon, you are inside an elk.
Well, that's my Saturday night sorted. Okay, can I get out of the elk? Can I try and style this out and just step out of the elk in a majestic way?
Roll me an
elk, Jesus.
Roll me an athletics, actually, to try and leap out of this. Because that's a little more strength-based now.
That's not a very good one. It's a 9.
You all hear a soft thump as someone tries to leap out of the elk but misses the opening.
Brandon, that is really not how you butcher an elk.
You know,
it might be how you tenderize one.
If he punches the elk to pieces from the inside out, I bet you're going to change your tone.
Steve, what you can do is take your full turn and take advantage on it.
But is there a way out of this elk that isn't horrifying?
I mean, your options are jumping your way out or punching your way out because you don't have any slicing weapons that I'm aware of.
I'll offer a third option: eating your way out.
Fair enough. I guess there's probably an anus somewhere further down.
Well, there's definitely an anus. That's just like it's basic biology. It's got to be an anus somewhere.
Pasta salad.
I would rather keep the anus route as a last resort. I'd like to climb out of the deer with as much dignity as I can possibly muster.
Roll me an athletics and give yourself advantage. We'll assume you're taking your time and going real careful.
Reenact the Brandon.
Brandon Thighmaster rolls an 11.
You guys all hear a soft squishing as like this lump kind of moves its way up the elk side and emerges on top. Brandon Thighmaster, covered in stomach juice and viscera.
Bjorg will look up at Brandon and say, "Escape from Elk A."
Well, thank you for taking away attention from my terrible predicament, Bjorg, with your awful joke. I feel slightly less bad about being here. Anyway, I was like, there's a fucking statue over there. All right, stop looking at me.
Brandon Thighmaster can get down, but in his heart, he knows that he's now been inside of an animal, and that makes him a little closer to Clammy Hands Edgar than he wanted.
Oh, God, I never even thought about it like that, Drew.
And me!
And Klaus.
We need to go and find... I forget what our original mission was, but now my mission is to find a shower.
That is the story of the entire campaign.
Now we need a new t-shirt, like, elk. More than one use for those antlers.
Oh.
We've created enough horror with our t-shirt campaigns.
Fendingo's now made a nice arrangement of elk parts on the ground, and he's made that pile over here, and now he's going to move back and cast Fireball and cook the elk.
All right. So Fandingo's cooking. Who is investigating the statue?
Bjorg will go with his drumstick.
Oh, Silas will go too.
Klaus is trying to make an elk leg hat, which I've drawn a picture of. I put it in the Facebook chat here.
I guess we have to find a way to put that on the.
I don't
podcast or
see it.
something.
Hold on.
Well,
Oh.
it's still booting up there. I don't know. Taking its time.
I can put it on the YouTube. I'm sure that if anybody doesn't normally go to the YouTube, then whatever abomination comes out of Bevan's head will make it entirely worth your while.
We'll also put it on the Authors and Dragons page on Facebook.com where we do the live blog and take questions at the end. So if you want to come check that out after you listen to this episode, just go to Facebook.com/Authors and Dragons.
It's really dragging its ass. Maybe I'll try and
We'll come back to that once that's loaded.
Also, if any of our listeners would like to crochet us elk leg hats, it would be appreciated.
Yeah, and if there are any, kind of like sponsors from major apparel companies out there, we are open for negotiation.
Or even minor apparel companies.
Yeah, or just weirdos in a basement.
All right, load it up more quickly. In the,
oh my god! Oh my god!
Yeah, that's definitely going to be on the Facebook page. All right, Steve, Silas, Brandon, Silas, and Bjorn. You are at the statue. It says shelter. It has a stone heart in its hand.
It has a stone heart in its hand, you said?
Yes.
Well, as you can see, guys, it's a statue. Has a heart in its hand. I wanted your opinion on it, and then I'll step behind Silas.
Steve, give me another intelligence check.
Okay, intelligence check. Let's win this. I've been doing so well so far. Oh, Brandon Firemaster rolls a 15 for some fucking reason.
Brandon Firemaster remembers he saw two shapes.
Oh yeah, I probably saw another shape. You guys?
Well, hold on. Let me try something here. Silas will go up, and since he's already covered in blood, he will smear a little bit on the heart.
You are wiping blood on a statue.
That's disturbing.
And yet.
I guess you're trying to send a message to all the other elk when they come by.
Fendingo's going to gather up some elk steaks and bring them over to the guys.
I'd like to investigate the other shape, if I may.
Okay. Go walk over and give me another perception.
Is that at the opposite tree, I take it?
Yep.
Okay. Don't bother with east and west, Drew. I think I've made my opinions on directions quite clear.
Indeed. All right. You can walk over and find another statue. This one's a little bit more like... It's more like a muscular guy, more classic warrior. He's holding what looks like kind of a cracked and chiseled mail. Again, stone, so definitely not stealable. I mean, you could, but it would just be a big hunk of stone. And then the inscription at the base of this one reads, "Power."
Hey guys, I think I found the better statue.
All right.
Wander
over and rub blood on this one.
Bjorg is going to wander. Over here between the trees.
Okay. Bjorg, you can give me a perception. Everybody else, you can just kind of see the statue. That's a give me. And Klaus.
Yes.
I'm trying to figure out what to have you roll for crafting a hat.
Bjorg rolled a 20 on perception.
Nice. Bjorg, you see a trail, and it is filled with tracks, giant elk tracks that correspond to the corpses you see, except there was a shitload more than 4 of them. You put together basically just a herd ran through here, and a couple of them came sniffing and beat the shit out of your friends.
Good gods. There are a lot more of them, Bjorg says to his companions. There are a lot more.
We can do more cooking.
It looks like you got beat up by the stragglers.
That's kind of how we roll.
Klaus,
What about
Dex?
all right. Yeah, it was a lot better than what I was going to suggest.
Also, do you have equipment? Like, do you have needle and thread and like stuff to actually make this?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
That I know of.
Ooh, I've got a needle and thread. If you'd like
All
to
right.
borrow
Well,
it.
you're kind of doing
Yeah.
your own thing at the statue, so I know he doesn't have it.
Oh.
But yeah,
Is
borrow it.
he making-
All right. Klaus rolls a 10. Somehow.
You turn it around in your hand a few times and say, "All right, I think my hands are up to the task of crafting this. Now, if only I had stuff to tan it and cut it and sew it and all that stuff."
I didn't want to do all that bullshit. I'm just gonna cut it, like skin it, and slap it on my head.
You're just gonna
It's
take
like-
the skin off, and then you're gonna put the loose skin on your head or the skinned deer leg on your head.
I'm gonna cut around the deer leg, peel the skin off, and cut it off at the hoof, and then flip it up like in the picture, and pull it down on my head.
Well, that's
Yeah,
more
Joe, like in the picture.
Yeah.
God.
I mean, I'm
can
giving
find
you a
on-
fucking illustration.
Okay, you realize that these hooves are enormous. Remember, these are gigantic.
That's what this is like. It makes me look like a badass.
Like, Bjorg ripped one off, but he had to drag it. If you try to put that leg on your head, I don't even know if you'll have the physical strength to move.
Still dragging it, by the way.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm gonna do what I gotta do. This is my new look.
Going for it.
Okay,
Going
with
for it.
your 10 decks, you can cut, you could just cut a section out of the base of the leg, which is what I think you're saying.
Right.
By base of the leg, you mean ass. Is Klaus fashioning an ass hat? Because that would make a lot of sense.
We'll say it pulled off a little bit further down. It's slightly above the knee is where the leg came off.
There we go.
I'm going to wager that he ends up appearing as an ass hat, regardless of the intentions.
Almost assuredly.
Magic.
Wow.
Oh, Fandango,
Yeah.
roll me a survival check.
Fandango rolls an 11.
Your butchering was phenomenal. Your cooking, more middle of the road.
Yeah, well, that's fine.
Still edible.
I'm not wearing elk butt on my hat.
Yeah, no, but you prepped like some 5-star fucking amazing. Oh no, wait, your
Number
3-star
is-
Michelin grade steaks. Like, you have cut this elk in a way that would make a butcher weep with pride.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes perfect sense. Yeah. That's how we roll. In the fantastical family.
How many? Wait, your last name is Fantastical?
Middle name, The.
Bjork looks skeptical, but then he thinks about, the people in his homeland, and his father was named Bjorn Wargson, so.
Yeah. Makes perfect sense now, right?
And,
It does make a lot of sense. It makes more sense than somebody kind of dubbing you the Fantastical.
Not more sense than him dubbing himself that, though.
Yeah, I always just assumed, that that's just a name you gave yourself.
Oh, agreed, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, no offense,
That might still be the case.
Fandango, the Fantastical Esquire.
Either way, we appreciate the
Hello.
irony.
Yeah, no steak for you fuckers then.
All right, this statue, is it rooted to the ground? Can it be tipped over?
It's like it's built into the ground. Like, the roots have grown up around it. It's been here for a very long time.
Now that we're close to it, can we, really examine it and discern anything else about it?
Yeah, you can.
is there any writing? I mean, I can't read it, but.
Yeah. Power.
Fandango gets a 20 perception check,
Okay.
if that helps.
It's a statue that says power. It's got the stone mail. Yeah.
I look up the tree.
You
Is
can
it-
see a few feet, but then the branches just get too thick. Remember, giant tree.
Does it look like it would be easy to climb?
Not especially, because even like the smaller branches are super thick around it. Would be hard to wrap your hand all the way around them.
Okay.
You basically, if you had climbing gear and you like used hooks, absolutely. Because it's bark, it's like super fucking easy to sink in. But barehanded, that's going to be a real challenge.
All right. So,
Start
is it a
touching-
statue of a dude?
Yeah. Big, muscular, strong, holding kind of a chipped male.
And the male won't come loose.
No, it's like, it's not inserted, it was part of the statue.
And
See
no
if the
part
arm
of-
moves.
I guess roll a strength check.
21.
That's excellent, but I'm pretty sure it's not enough to barehand break stone, so it does not work.
Silas is between gods at the moment, just looking for a new god to blaspheme against.
When he does that, does the statue itself move at all? Does it rotate on its base? Any of that?
No, it's really like rooted in there.
Hey, Klaus, will you come over here and pee on this?
I'm making another hat.
Another one.
You have
Yeah,
one
the
head.
first one didn't work out so well.
Well, that's fair.
Well, it's as long as you're busy.
That's gonna take you a little while to cut off another deer or another elk leg.
Well, that's why I can't help out right now.
Fair enough.
Silas will go over to the first statue and try to do the same thing, see if he can move the arm or if there's anything there's any give.
All right, roll me a strength check.
20.
Still not enough to barehand break stone.
Are you just trying to like muscle something out off of the statue?
Oh, I'm just seeing if there's any moving parts.
Fendigo's gonna put on his pair of brass knuckles and punch the statue.
Okay, roll me an attack.
Bold move.
Yeah, it's a strong opener.
Actually, he'll try and stab it with his rapier instead. Because I have that macro built. And natural one.
Okay.
Rapier, or like breakier.
Yeah, you decide to just go in overhand for some reason, even though it's a rapier. Roll me another d20.
So, let's
6.
see. We've tried to break this thing. We've tried to...
John, is that rapier magical?
Nope.
Oh, you have shattered that rapier.
All right.
You just
I got
brought
you.
that thing down, barehanded overhand swing onto the statue's shoulder, and you just fucking snapped it clean.
Alrighty, well, we'll just delete that from our inventory.
You have a hilt you could punch people with.
Also, there are spells that mend things that are like cantrips, so...
Fuck it. I have a loot that turns into a magical longsword.
Fair enough.
The rapier was kind of the least useful weapon I have.
When
I
did that
bought you
happen?
that rapier, you ungrateful bastards.
And now you just
I think at
want
least
to
that's
destroy it for no good
Some
reason.
sentimental value to you.
I hand the pieces to Brandon. Thank you very much for the rapier. It's fucked now.
Certainly is. Just like our friendship.
Nice. Silas is going to return to one of the butchered elks and start carving out its heart.
Did you roll me a check for butchering skills?
Yes, I rolled a 12 earlier.
Ah, okay. That's enough to figure out. Cut sternum. Go to heart.
All right. Once I have it free, I'm going to bring it up and offer it to the statue.
Roll me a strength check.
10.
No. Like, fucking with the stuff where it falls off is one thing, but if you're trying to drag that massive heart, you're gonna have to do better than a 10.
Christ, I'm strong enough to manhandle statues, but I can't drag a frickin' organ.
A giant organ.
You can pull on an organ, just not that one. It's a matter of consent, Silas.
Brandon, come over here. You're already covered in guts.
I think the technical term is stomach juices.
Guts and shards of broken rapier.
Not
Also
good luck.
known as friendship pieces.
Yeah, I'll assist with dragging the heart. I haven't been rolling very well recently, but yeah, why not? I'm already slick with dead elk.
All right, both of you, strength checks. You'll work together on this one.
Slick with Elk is the name of my new erotic shifter fantasy.
Ooh, natural 20.
There you go.
Ooh.
Only a
Yes.
10.
As soon as Brandon shows up, it feels so light you can just carry it with ease. He must be really hauling the weight for you. Before it was so hard. And together the two of you just easily bring it over and set it down in front of the statue.
I say to Silas, what was the point of doing this again?
I'm not particularly sure.
Oh, well, that's okay.
I turn to the statue and say, give me shelter.
Or give me death.
Death is an acceptable answer.
Silas, when you say that to the statue, you notice like a soft swirl of light kind of half appear and then fade.
Where? Oh,
Around the statue.
God damn, I don't know the rest of the lyrics of that song.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Please give me shelter.
Again, like a little bit of a sputter of a swirl and then nothing.
This statue here is doing something in front of the elk cart I just dragged over to it.
Bjorg will jog over and unceremoniously drop his drumstick in front of it and say, "Please give me shelter, nice heart statue person."
Exact same thing. Flicker and fade.
Well, maybe it needs a whole elk.
Brandon would...
Let's lift up the heart and put it in its arms.
Ooh, good idea.
There's physically no way you are going to be able to put that giant elk heart onto the extended hand of a statue. It will not balance on that.
That doesn't mean we're not going to try.
If two of you, the only way you can do it is if you both get on one side and just kind of like hold it in place.
What if
You're not going to rest it there.
What if we impale the heart on the hand?
Ooh, that's a good one.
It's possible. You might also snap the arm clean off because that's a shitload of weight.
Or
Why don't you just cut a piece of the heart off?
Oh, good idea. Bjorg will start cutting a piece of the heart off. He's got like a dagger.
While this is going on, Brandon would like to go back over to the more interesting statue and say to it, "I've got the power!"
Flicker of light that fades.
Oh, sweet. They do respond to late 80s song lyrics, is it?
Fendingo's going to go over to the one that says, yeah, I'll stay over at the one that says power, because Silas is over there at the other one.
Given the, my understanding of the size of the elk hooves, I've constructed a new hat design.
Okay.
And there it is.
So it's just the hoof now, is what you're going with. It's just the hoof.
Well, I mean...
God damn it.
Oof,
Well,
there
that's
it
going
is.
up now.
I'm working with what I've got.
Well, none of us can argue against
know.
that. You certainly are, my friend.
I'm
Brandon,
looking
why don't
at
you
the size
punch-
chart to see if there's any way that the hoof of that thing could be small enough for you to fit.
Oh, come on, that's a big fucking hoof.
Yeah, but it was a giant fucking elk. What's the size of it? Alright, it is... Okay, it's huge, not colossal, so...
I want an entire Authors and Dragons line animation done in the style of these pictures.
Okay, yeah, I will give it to you. You can
All right.
you can make one hoof into a hat. It's still very heavy, and it makes your neck sore if you wear it for more than an hour, but you can do it.
It's my kid and play hoof hat.
I really wish you hadn't described it that way, but I can't deny that it is slightly fitting to the picture you drew.
Now it can't be unseen.
Yep.
Okay, so Bjorg will walk up to the statue.
Yeah,
Take
to
a
be
deep
fair,
breath.
I tried to make a normal half elf hat, but you made me go here.
No one made you do anything. You're a
You
rogue.
forced my hand.
You're a rogue who relies on stealth and subtlety, wearing a giant kid and play hat, just staggering around under this giant hat.
This is my training. If I can be stealthy under these conditions.
Yeah. Wait till it starts to rot. That'll be fun.
I just figured he wanted to headbutt people.
Probably also true.
All style.
Would make more sense as a barbarian hat, yeah.
Someone was
so
approaching a statue?
Bjorg is going to walk up to the one with the heart in it, because it's got a heart in its hand, right?
Yes.
Okay. Bjorg is going to walk up to the statue. He's going to cut off a piece of the elk heart. He's going to hold it up. He's going to offer it up. And he says, "Once upon a time, there was a light in my life, but now there's only love in the dark. Nothing I can say. Total eclipse of the heart." He's going to put the heart piece in its...
Okay. Nothing happened.
in its hand. Damn it!
That's a good song as well. It's fickle statues.
There's only so much Bonnie Tyler I can pull off.
And I think that was it. Right there. Pretty much covered the whole sum total. Brandon, why don't you punch the statue while yelling power at the top of your lungs?
Straight up anime.
Yeah, that sounds like something I can and should do. Okay. Unarmed strike. Just natural one.
Roll me another d20, Steve.
Oh, God.
Bloody hell.
Instant kill himself on a statue.
I'm going to end up getting the fuck knocked out of me for this.
I have very recently been trampled by a giant deer. I think instead of saying power, he says potato.
Tater.
16.
Okay, you don't hurt yourself, but you just punch it right in a really solid spot, and it's like an old vaudeville show.
Brandon is vibrating. Is he about to split into two Brandons?
Well, we can but hope.
Fendingo's going to put his hand on the mail and say, "Give me the power."
A flicker and nothing.
Give me the power, please.
I'm gonna try it with this one. I'm gonna say shelter power.
Flicker and nothing. They're both male, by the way. One's just like big, classic warrior. The other's like more like peaceful. Looks like a statue, like a Greek philosopher.
Are there any flowers around?
You said it was holding mail, like holding a suit of armor.
Oh, punching the male. I gotcha. Yeah, again, same.
Yeah, it wasn't like fondling the statue's junk.
Oh yeah, that's totally out of character for this podcast.
Yeah, that'd be
Well, I mean, that might have been next, but now I don't think it'll work.
Yeah, just start rubbing it and being like, "Give me the power."
I try to jerk it off.
We sank an island by Brandon humping a tree.
That's a little bit true.
That's not a little bit true. That's literally true.
Yeah, that's 100% true.
Yeah.
There are no shades of meaning in this one.
Anyway, Silas, you get the same effect. Flicker and nothing.
Well, where's the flickering happening?
Around the statue.
I'm gonna try to put my hands in the flickering as I say shelter.
Okay. Nothing.
Bjorg is now pacing in front of the statue, saying, "What more do I need to do?"
Like trying to grab the lint from a sunbeam.
Guys, this might be a stupid question, but that would be not out of character at all for us. Why do we give a fuck?
Because they're here.
We're very easily distracted.
And they
Why?
flicker.
why don't we just go down the trail through the trees where the elk came from and see if we can find the source of what makes the elk so goddamn big on this island. And maybe that's where the magical hoodoo shit that has me under a spell that will kill me is coming from.
Where's the... We
It's
eat
all-
steak.
It's all about you, isn't it?
Yep.
Bjork wants to go eat
100%.
some of those steaks that Fandango cooked.
Okay. You can go take a meal break to kind of mull things over. You guys have got enough information now that I'll give you intelligence checks. But first,
Does our meal break count as a short rest?
sure, yeah, actually, you absolutely should take a short rest anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, because some of us want spells and shit back.
Oh, you get spells back from a short rest?
I get Bardic Inspiration back from a
Nice.
short rest.
Yeah, you should take a short rest, eat your meal. You've done some information gathering, so I'll give you an advantage intelligence check. But first, I need everybody to go into their character sheets and
Alright.
make sure that they have properly filled out all their sections of information, including ancillary things that might not seem like they matter as much, such
I
as
almost certainly haven't done that.
yeah,
Go ahead.
such
Such
as,
as?
for example, making sure that you have all your known languages listed.
What? Okay.
100% sure I haven't done that.
I think I only have... I get, like, what, common and one other?
All right, we will cut away from this and pop back as soon as those are filled out. But the magic vetting will
Alright.
happen now. Okay, so with languages ironed out, I will now give you, your characters, a intelligence check with advantage. All of you collectively. Consider this game representation insight into what you probably just figured out by me asking you about languages.
Alright.
All right. Silas gets an 18.
Brandon gets a
15.
Brandon gets a natural 20.
Bjork rolls a 9.
With advantage, Fandango gets 21. Well, that was...
Did
Oops.
Klaus say 15?
Klaus has a 15, yes.
Okay, I didn't. Sorry, I couldn't.
Alright, no, it's alright.
Okay, so, let's see. So, Fandango, Silas, and Klaus. Well, no, wait, Klaus didn't fuck with any of that. Klaus just made it that. So, Fandango and Brandon and Silas all realize this. But since Brandon got the natural 20, we'll do it from his perspective since that's more fun. As you are eating your amazingly butchered, okay prepared hunk of elk flesh, you're chewing it over and you're thinking about how sometimes they teach you in the Temple of the Many Fists that if you fight an opponent who blocks every punch, sometimes it's time for a kick. And that brings it to your mind that maybe you should attack this from a different angle. You were getting results, you were saying the word, maybe you should say it in a different language.
Hey, brothers, it just occurred to me that perhaps we should kick these statues in a different language.
I think you may have gotten a piece of elk that's turned. What? Kick? No. Oh! I think I get it.
I've tried
So-
punching it in my own language. Perhaps we should punch it in different languages. It seemed to respond to words and punches, like most things do, if you punch and speak hard at them enough. Yeah, perhaps it's time to try different words / aggressive combat maneuvers.
This is interesting. I don't know how one punches something in giant. I suppose I will have to climb up the tree and drop down on it.
Why don't you just punch it and yell power in giant first?
I mean, at Temple of the Many Fists, we mainly speak in the language of dance, but I have picked up a little gnomish on my travels, so Brandon will kick this statue while shouting whatever the gnomish for power is.
You get the same result as when you yelled it in common. A flicker and nothing.
Well, I'm out of ideas, guys.
Well,
Okay.
Fandango will yell power, will say power in Elvish.
Same result.
Well, Silas remembers how he was raised, so he screams out shelter in Dwarven, but at the same time headbutts the statue with his face.
You notice that the lights flicker longer this time. There's definitely... It seems like something is going to happen, and then it just doesn't. But it's...
Thank you! Guy I can't say. Fuck.
Bjorg is going to look up at the statue and think about all of the positive male influences in his life, and he is going to press his hands to the statue and say, love in giant only... Or no, wait, the word was shelter, right?
If you're at the shelter one, then yes. If you're at the power one, then no.
No, he's gonna press his hands to the shelter statue, and he's going to say shelter. But he says it in giant, so it probably sounds like a Norwegian black metal singer screaming.
It does indeed. And with that scream, a flurry of lights appear around the statue, connecting and glowing to form a doorway where the statue was. It leads into a dark, kind of like downward slope. You can't really see anything beyond that, but yeah, that's what you see.
Who wants to help me come down the dark, slippery hole?
Before we go down the dark, slippery hole, maybe we take another little break for more steak and to heal Brandon a little more.
How much longer do we have to wait?
Well, I mean, if we took a short rest, Brandon healed one hit die at the end of his short rest.
Well, he healed however many he chose to heal if he wanted to use them.
Are we talking about my monastic ability?
No, we're talking about using hit die during short rests. I think I tried to show you this when we did the first one, but it was mixed in with a lot of stuff. So basically, you can roll your hit die, like so as a monk, I think it's a D8, a number of times equal to your level between long rests, so per day. And you can only do it at short rests, but when you do, you regain that number of hit die. So it's sort of your way of naturally healing between fights.
Wow.
And you have started this day fresh, so you have all 7 hit die. And if you're really low on hit points, I would use some. In fact, you can just hit die on your character sheet, and it will go ahead and roll it for you.
That's handy.
Beautiful.
And if we're going to hang out for another hour or so and Fandango plays while we do this, my Song of Rest will let you regain an extra 1d6 hit points while we do this.
Does that sound good for everybody?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I had a project going on during that time. I made myself a pair of elk penis and scrotum pants.
Oh my god.
And you can see Ron Weasley Jeremy there.
This is going to be the most traffic we ever get. So, where's the thread coming from?
It's just artistic license or whatever.
I will let you do the basic work of cutting out the supplies, but until you have sewing equipment, you cannot make pants.
Brandon offered me this. Yeah, he's got the stuff.
Steve
he's resting.
told you that. Brandon hasn't told you jack shit.
All right. Well, he could see me trying to craft pants with no thread. Or maybe I just used elk pubes. These are dire pubes.
Oh my god.
He's got a point straight out of dire pubes.
Yeah.
So they're more like ropes, I guess. Oh god, that's horrible.
So yeah, definitely kind of a thick. Maybe
me this. They're gonna rot off in a day anyway.
Fine. Yeah, we'll assume you had the conversation with Brandon who loaned you the thread, and you have roughly slapped these together. They are dripping viscera, by the way, because you haven't tanned them or anything.
Why don't you?
You just tore this skin off and wrapped it around yourself.
Why don't you just like hollow out one of the corpses and just wear like a giant elk costume? You know.
I feel like this is the most horrific Klaus has ever appeared.
Oh, give it to him.
I don't think it's even in the top 5.
Oh, that's true. It takes a lot to equal the shitting scene.
Also, we're assuming that Klaus went up to Brandon and said, "Hey, can I borrow your needle and thread?" And Brandon just didn't ask why at all. I think that's the only way that would have happened. I don't think if Klaus had said, "I want to make some pants out of his genitals," I don't think Brandon would have wanted to be party to that. So let's just say that Brandon was distracted and just kind of tossed the needle and thread over.
Brandon was trying to convince himself that all the stomach juice on him looked like oil.
Yes.
And that's a lot of mental effort to make that jump.
Huh.
So you guys are doing a long rest, or you're doing a short rest. Fandingo's playing Song of Rest, so anybody who uses a hit die, add an extra 1d6. Just once, not per hit die. I checked.
I'll take it.
Even though I've been working strenuously, do I get that as well? Or?
No, you are crafting, and that is not a rest.
Okay. All right, yeah. Worth it.
You've got to suffer for your art, man. Your strange, twisted art that nobody wants to be a part of.
Well, I'll be warm at night.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
And rancid.
Is it warm? I bet it's warm, isn't it? Ugh.
You mean the viscera that's all over you? Yes.
Yeah, this is a real disgusting round, is what this has become.
Oh God, I hope we run into some giant bears on this island.
Yeah, the barbarian is like almost the cleanest person here. I mean, except for me, but I'm fantastical.
I can make you some pants.
So what do you want to do
Thanks.
after you finish your second rest?
Let's go in the shelter door, because the power door will probably have something that will beat our ass.
Okay. The door has faded away. It doesn't last but maybe a minute before vanishing.
All right, big guy. You're up. All right. Bjorg is going to walk up to the shelter statue. He's going to say shelter in giant, which again sounds like a Norwegian black metal scream. And then he's going to press his hand softly to the statue as he does so.
The doorway opens once more.
Bjorg will turn to his friends and say, "It is time. Into the hole." We'll start walking.
Klaus, you coming with us? We're going down in a dark, slippery hole.
Squish, squish, squish. Yes, Klaus will follow.
Truly the greatest rogue that has ever lived. As for where that doorway leads, you all can find out next time on Authors and Dragons, or if you're just the really impatient type, you can come find out live at Con Carolinas on June 2nd is when we're going to be doing this one. Saturday, June 2nd, the live game at 7 p.m. So that, or just wait until the next episode. Your choice. For now, we're going to transition over to the second half of our episodes where we take questions from you on the Facebook.com, on the Facebook page that I've plugged multiple times already, facebook.com/Authors and Dragons. Joe, take it away.
Okay, so, hi, we're questions now. First one, our friend Scott says, "My son is graduating high school from high school this week. Give him, Brendan, our what you should do your last summer at home ideas." Why the fuck are you asking us to advise your son on what to do at home?
Was that specifically from Brandon? Or
No, that was this guy's.
Oh, the kid's name is Brandon. Okay.
I mean, the
Brendan,
last
not Brendan,
summer
yeah.
before college isn't really that much. I mean, like, yeah, spend time with your friends, like, say your goodbyes, like, understand that you're probably not going to talk to most of these people ever again. Even the ones you like, it's hard once you all start drifting. Now, the first summer back from college, that's great. Hang out with your friends as much as you can, and, like, try and hook up with people who you had an attraction to, but it wasn't viable in your social structures of high school. That's what the summer home from college is for.
Yeah.
I'm thinking summer before college is also good for that last minute pity fuck. The ones that you can't hook up with normally, but you know that it's unlikely that they'll ever see you again, and they've already broken up with their significant other because they're going away to different schools. So long about late July, you could get some good, it's been a slow summer pity fuck going on.
Oh, don't try drugs, by the way. Your small town, you'll probably get in trouble for that. Just wait a few months and go to college and try drugs with everybody else for the first time.
I'm gonna go practical, because being somebody who who had a 5-day meal plan and who didn't eat on weekends, get a friggin' summer job, save up your cash, because let's be honest, the part about starving college student that sucks is the starving part.
Also practical is get a summer job, save up your money, because fake IDs are fucking expensive.
And beer costs double when you have to bribe the guy buying it for you.
Right.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'll let Steve talk first, because I think my advice is mostly terrible.
Yeah, mine was too.
Did you notice what we're saying?
Well,
Yeah,
no, but
mine
like
wasn't going to be non-terrible.
My last summer before college, I got in a fight with 5 guys and ended up lighting a driveway on fire. So
that sounds great.
Goddamn, Joe.
How do you burn a driveway?
Well, that's a funny story, but it involves a gas can getting set on fire and some dumbass deciding to kick it.
You know what? I think I can fill in the gaps now.
Not for Brendan, because he shouldn't do these things because they're bad.
Wear boots if you're gonna do that.
Yeah. Don't set a keyhole saw on fire either. That's a bad idea.
Yeah, I'd say follow Rick's advice. Work all summer so you can spend your first week at college as an absolute baller, and then become a starving student.
Make a great first impression that first week, and then once you've got these people hooked into friendship, reveal that you're actually broke as shit.
Be the one who brings the coffee and baby powder.
That's like punch out the toughest guy in the yard.
Yeah, there's that too.
Kinda.
There is I won't say that there isn't something to people talk about this is your last chance to have sex with so and so. This is also your last chance to punch out so and so.
Well, yeah, you fought 5 guys over your summer. We know what your priority list was.
Well, wait, why can't you do both?
I mean, look, decisions
With
were
the
made.
same person?
Why not?
Sure.
No. That was not what happened.
Then set them on fire.
No.
Boy, Joe, you are really saying some terrible shit.
My 18th year was unquiet.
So, really,
I'm gonna
real
go.
practical advice.
Yeah.
Learn how to do laundry so you don't dye your socks and underwear pink.
Oh, good one.
Oh, yeah.
Learn
I'm
to
gonna go a little more low key. Play Dragon Warrior and listen to Talking Heads album 77 on repeat.
I'm going to give one other piece of advice. In case you don't, if you're going to be living on campus, learn to sleep with someone else snoring. If you're going to have a roommate and they snore and you're not used to that,
Pretend your roommate is a driveway and set them on fire.
damn it.
Also,
That's what
learn
I
to
like to
sleep
call
while
the
people are
brassy
having
special.
sex in the room.
Oh,
Sleep
yeah.
with your roommate while he's snoring.
All right, Joe, what else you got?
All right.
Yeah, Joe, now that you finished being terrible, what else have you
Nothing stops snoring like a dick
Now we
in the
need to
mouth.
go to our friend Adam.
Yeah, okay. So I'm going to our friend Adam asks, which of you is most likely to win in a fight against each other? Why are we asking this?
Joe, right?
So,
Yeah,
Really, Joe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll go to Joe.
If
all
you
right.
all ganged up on me, you'd probably win, honestly.
I think I'd probably win because I'd stay out of it. And yeah.
I think
I think that by the time Joe sets the rest of us on fire, you're going to get caught in the splash zone there, Bevan.
I think the strategy for all of us is hope Joe has a heart attack, otherwise lose.
Or
I don't know. If you all just jumped on me and threw me to the ground, that'd probably work.
I think we've
Yeah,
talked
but I'm
about
not
this,
gonna
and we
participate.
decided we'd all just run, and then Bevan would chug beers until he gained his ninja magic.
Dude, I'm talking about the exact opposite.
You would
Oh,
not.
I mean,
you would throw
I
up
would
beers.
chuck beers, but no, I would just watch you all fight and drink beer.
the magic of pacifism.
Even with your magical beer drinking skills, all of us fighting Joe is not going to take long enough for you to get through more than 2.
I'm essentially Jesus.
All right, Joe, what do you got to follow that with?
Jesus. All right, Jeff, our friend Jeff, says, if Ron Weasley Jeremy were kidnapped by bears, would Klaus be able to save him?
Well, I think somebody hasn't read Klaus Encounters.
Mm. Yeah, I was just about to
Klaus
say
knows
that.
how to deal with bears.
Well, that's a stretch from somebody who has read the Klaus Encounters. I don't know that "know" and "deal" are the right words in that sentence. But...
Klaus thinks he knows how to deal with bears.
I think the answer is
better.
yes, knowing that there are other weasels in the world, and they could be easily named Ron Jeremy Weasley too.
Oh,
Ron
God.
Weasley Jeremy.
All right.
I wonder how
That
many
too.
Ron Weasley Jeremys that have come before.
Oh, this just got meta all of a sudden.
Well, okay, our next question is from our friend Holden. It says, if your characters could wield only one weapon for the rest of their days, what would they choose? Players, same question.
Klaus
My penis.
wield his member.
Judge
So are we
Hartley
all
would
answering
wield the
dick?
law.
Yeah, pretty sure dick is the answer for all our characters and our players.
Yeah, I mean, the only weapon I've ever wielded is my member.
I guess Dick counts as an unarmed strike, so that works for Brendan.
And this is
I've never
why-
actually been in a fight, so, you know.
Or a flurry of blows on a good day.
This is why Brandon actually has to take a vow of celibacy. Anytime he was with a woman, he would have to roll unarmed strike.
I was going to say, he didn't say it had to be like a realistic weapon. So, I'd say like, the Infinity Gauntlet, which like, conversely is probably the only way we're going to win against Joe.
It's a 50% chance of turning Joe into dust is our best option.
You guys are building up the sort of expectations that, like, actually, you know what? Never mind. People are not going to want to fight me, so that's good. I'm okay with that.
Joe, also keep in mind, the rest of us are doughy and out of shape, so it's not like we're pitting you against a peer and saying you have superior skills. It's a pretty straightforward you kicking our ass.
You would be amazed at how well a couple of big guys just sitting on a fucker will work.
I would not, as the fattest guy on the podcast.
There was like even just one. Like when I'm, there's a guy in my class who's pretty heavy set, and he's not like the best wrestler in the world, but if he gets a hold of you, it's pretty hard to get away from him.
There's a certain amount of mass that's just hard to move, but let's face it, Joe is the Ferdinand the Bull of the podcast.
I feel bad. Like 30 pounds ago, I feel like I could have kicked Joe's ass. But now I'm too in shape.
I do not have that problem.
Oh. All right, Joe.
Okay.
And I noticed you picked the one where you knew we were going to preen your ego, so what else you got?
I grabbed the Holden one. It was the last one I grabbed. Let's see here. Alan, our friend Alan says, please share some of the coolest places you find inspiration for your characters and place names in your novels.
This is another one where we all just say my dick.
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
I've got a good one for this.
Okay.
Okay.
I didn't know if I ever wanted to reveal this, but I guess I will here.
Definitely talk about your dick.
No, we're not. I would have revealed that a long time ago.
We know.
The the Orcish territory of Mebgar Shore, in my novels, that's from my English teaching days in Korea. There was this series of books called English Time, and one of the books, I think it might have been English Time 1, in the workbook, there was this word jumble where they mix up the letters and the words, and the students had to figure out what it was. Mebgar Shur is just a jumble of hamburgers.
Oh, that sounds delicious. I'd like to order a jumble of hamburgers.
I thought it sounded like a cool orc territory, so
I'm gonna order a Membar shirt next time I go to McDonald's.
I'll have the member show, please.
You have no idea what I'm talking about.
Well, maybe you should read Caverns and Creatures.
Yeah. Get off your property, you say. Fair
And
enough.
English time.
There's a scene in the third chapter of Skyfarer where the protagonist is looking at an atlas, and there's a number of just place names that are named, just like she's just looking at a number of independent kind of nation states, and all of those names are places that I've featured in my 16-year-old role-playing games that I was DMing.
Oh, that is true. If you dig through the Spell Swords and Stealth series, if any of my old players ever go through, they'll be like, "You motherfucker, you just stole the names of your old towns for every time you need a city."
I did draw a lot. There was one cool place I went to that when I went to Italy a couple years ago. So walking through Rome and Florence basically gave me a lot of cool ideas for just oh, so this is what it feels like to walk down a giant aisle of huge, ominous, imposing statues that are staring at your face.
Yeah, most of my place names. England's got some weird place names. I used to be a delivery driver, and I think I used the word soul drop was one of the. It's just a village I drove through once and thought, that sounds like a fantasy name, so I'm going to steal that. But there's been lots of times where I've made up what I think is a ridiculous fantasy name, and then looked on a map and go, oh, I can actually drive there in 2 hours. I should probably find a new name.
Oh, I'll tell you guys something weird. Oh, sorry, John, you go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that most of what I write is set in the real world, so I just Google Maps. Really fucking boring. But
Yeah, that totally is.
yeah, it is.
I will use names of characters or places that I've never or words that I know of, like quorum, or lander, and I'll end up living by streets with those names very frequently to an unnerving degree. And I start getting in my head wait, did I drive by this? No, that book has to predate this. Yeah, that's just a weird glitch in the matrix that I'm dealing with.
This is what Facebook is doing right now. They're naming streets after your interests and shit.
As I say, Drew's one step away from stepping into his closet and disappearing forever.
Oh, if I step through a magic doorway, I'm never coming back. Unless there's no beer.
Nope.
And then I'm coming right
What happened?
back.
He just, I don't know. He went through the wardrobe, and then he just snorted everything that Mr. Tumnus owned.
We got a messenger Seder through a few weeks later. It just said he was supposed to tell you, the king says the party is raging, he's never coming back, and now I have to go kidnap someone named Andrew W.K.
The reality, though, winds up being somebody opens that closet a couple weeks later and just finds him dead with a case of Fireball.
I don't know, if I'm tripping that hard, it should be a case of meth or something. Alright, Joe, what do you got next for us?
Okay, let's see here. Our friend Guy says, when is the next Mimic Chest and or side quest episode? Also, have you made any decision about the side quests, and can I have some verbal abuse? Okay,
Absolutely.
Guy.
Fuck you, Guy.
Fuck you, Guy.
You deer-eyed...
Guy.
Yeah.
Guy, you deer-eyed Kool-Aid gargling chuckle fuck.
Guy, you just
Fuck
asked
you,
a
Guy.
wonderful question that allows us to plug our shit. So, yeah, you definitely get some abuse if you want it. The next Mimic Chest, I believe, Steve, they come out monthly, first of every month?
They do, first of every month, or second if I'm slow, but hopefully a first, yeah.
Sometimes we sprinkle some extra stuff in there, but that means your next one for sure will be on June 1st. Now, as for side quest, I would love to make more. I think as would everyone else here. But as we've said, the side quests have to be funded through the Patreon to make sure we have enough money to pay our editor. The goal for side quests, I believe, is $750. And as of right now, we are at $547. So if you want weekly content, if you want side quests in between the A&D episodes, go to patreon.com/authorsanddragons. You'll get access to that Mimic Chest content that Guy was talking about, upload the first of every month, and we've got a pretty decent backlog at this point.
Guy, you cheap fuck.
Yeah. But $5 a month, you can help fund it, and once side quests get funded, They are free for all. It will just be weekly content.
Let's see here. Our friend Mike said, this question is for Steve, my new BFF. Do you have any plans to make Clammy Hands Edgar your roommate on the ship? And also, do you, if you have plans to write the backstory of Clammy Hands Edgar, because I feel like that's the story the world needs to hear. I think that's directed at Drew, but he seems to believe that Steve...
Yeah. Clammy Hands
Steve,
Edgar.
you take your
Drew's
question
fault.
first, and then I'll answer the second.
You know something? I think Drew made this is your out to give Steve credit for Clammy Hands Edgar.
I'd say unequivocally that Clammy Hands Edgar is not my fault in the slightest. That's entirely down to Drew. And writing his backstory will be Drew's penance for that.
Would I ever write the Clammy Hands Edgar backstory? No.
What?
I don't need to be on any more watch lists.
Come on, Drew,
And there's
come
no
on.
way I'm getting through
Give
that
the
one
people what
without
they
having
want.
a fun one.
You're
Put it this
already
way,
on
if
the
I ever
ball.
write that, that's going to be Patreon only, and that shit is not going published.
And it ain't going cheap either.
You can't tease a guy who loves sea turtles that much and not pay it off a little bit in the backstory.
Let's see here.
All right,
I
we
might
got time
have,
for
I might have to
two
pair
more, Joe.
this cross.
Okay, so
Give
a
us
few
some
more.
good ones.
Our other friend Jeff says, what is your favorite style of food to eat when you have to cook? So
Easy.
presumably this means
Cooking.
like only when we are cooking ourselves. So theoretically only something we, can cook.
Yeah, like I love pizza, but I'm not
Microwavable.
cooking pizza.
What did you say?
Like I love pizza, but I don't cook pizza.
Actually, I kind of enjoy cooking Indian food.
That is, Indian food is kind of fun to cook, I think. It's
Making
kind
a
of
good, yeah. Oh, go ahead.
a bit low pressure, but a high return.
Making a good curry is nice. The big thing that I like that I will do, usually like most of my favorite foods are more like autumn foods because I like comfort food. But probably I do this like thing where I make a really big cast iron cauldron's worth of homemade chicken soup from like scratch.
I
Can you
have a
make one
full
of those?
repertoire.
Can you make a cauldron of that like next March when I want to come out for NorwestCon?
Sure, if you come to my house, I'll make soup for you.
It's fucking ideal. I don't cook, so
I have a repertoire of recipes, but honestly, as I've gotten older, I get lazier and I don't use them as much. Grilling is probably what I do most often, just because it's easiest. But if I'm really cooking, I'm probably going to be making Cajun food. Like I love a good shrimp stew. I love some good red beans and rice.
Oh man, yeah.
And I've got I learned to make those from family and good recipes, and it's just I fucking love a good Southern Cajun food. So if I'm gonna really cook, that's probably what I'm gonna spend my time on.
And homemade gumbo is just fucking
Oh,
awesome.
man.
Dude, I
I had
learned
that
how
at
to
a
bake a
event.
roux, and it makes making gumbo so much easier.
Mm-hmm.
I had a friend who, like, for a sword event last year, basically, like, on the last day of the event when we were all starving and had been fighting all weekend, he just made this giant vat of homemade gumbo. It was so fucking good.
I used to have a special recipe I'd make when I was really drunk. And what you do is you'd go into the cupboard with the tins in it, and you'd get maybe 3 tins of something and put it in a pot and boil it. And then you'd grate most of the cheese into that pot and stir it all up. And then you'd just like put it between some toast and eat it. And you'd wake up like covered in beans, but in a good way.
yeah.
It didn't have a name. It was more of an understanding than a dish. So yeah, I never named it, but that's my speciality.
Tony's Pizza. Yeah.
You
come
cook
$2.50
pizza.
at Walmart. They're beautiful.
Oh, I see.
Don't
you
go
do
fancy.
Asian
Just get the pepperoni.
That's solid.
You're welcome.
Wash it down with some Kirkland Light.
Kirkland Light.
All right, we got to answer Chris's question because Chris asks everyone, "What is your favorite turtle?"
Teenage Mutant Ninja.
I feel like my best answer here is to use the meme. I like turtles.
My brother's nickname is Turtle, so I guess he would be my favorite turtle.
I'm gonna say Northwest Snapping Turtle.
I gotta think he's probably asking. He's probably taking for granted we understand that he's asking about our specific Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, but I'm gonna say Raphael.
I figured his answer was more along the lines of, well, I like all turtles because they're slow and can't get away easily.
It could be. All right, yeah. I didn't take into consideration that we
Disgusting. What are you, Joe? God.
Turtle fetishes.
Hey,
yeah, why would audience know?
You don't want to fuck a common snapping turtle though, because they're fast.
And snapping.
Yeah, the snapping part really. Like, I feel like you could have stopped there and made your point.
I mean, when you catch them though, you don't put the snapping in near your junk.
Wow.
So your turtle rate kit includes zip ties.
Hey! I'm Team Squid.
I guess if there's going to be any moral of this podcast, don't try to fuck a snapping turtle in the mouth is probably. I mean, it's more functional than I thought we were gonna get.
That's solid.
Yeah,
that's solid advice.
That's actually good advice. Don't try to fuck a snapping turtle in the mouth.
That's moral advice too.
It is.
It is. Yeah.
We're taking the moral high road there.
That is honestly the best we're gonna do.
You're welcome.
We're going to try the topic next week. With our next episode of Authors and Dragons. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you in 2 weeks, or we'll see you on June 2nd in Con Carolinas in Charlotte, North Carolina. So come see us if you would like to.
Yep. Book your flights.
Woo. Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
Authors and Dragons is brought to you under a Creative Commons license, meaning you are free to share this material so long as credit is given to those who created it, which is us, the people you just heard play the game. Opening and closing themes performed by the Gore Core 4.
Authors and Dragons!